Heartwarming encounter, how a poor maid discovered life-changing love with a billionaire's son. Sarah stood in the grand foyer of the mansion, surrounded by exquisite chandeliers that sparkled like stars. Each day, she stepped into this glamorous world, her heart tugging at the stark contrast between her life as a maid and the lavish opulence that enveloped her. At just 23, she was already a warrior, navigating her dual jobs to support her struggling single mother and younger siblings. While dusting shelves and scrubbing floors, she kept her dreams tucked away like treasures, the hope of a better life flickering in her heart like candlelight. It was on an ordinary afternoon, as she carefully polished a silver vase that gleamed like the sun, when the universe decided to shift. She turned and nearly bumped into a tall figure, Ryan, the mansion owner's reclusive son. He no longer wore the carefree smile of his youth, heartbreak shadowed his features. They locked eyes, and in that split second, the world around them faded. She felt something unexplainable, a connection as electric as a lightning bolt. "Sorry," he mumbled, eyes gazing down like he carried the weight of the world. It wasn't just about the family name he couldn't escape, it was about the expectations that trapped him. "I'm just avoiding the crowd." Sarah felt a pang of empathy. She wasn't in his world, but she understood the noise of obligation. A hum of only a few words had sparked something deep. "I get it," she replied softly, her voice barely breaking the silence. "Sometimes, it's easy to feel lost in a sea of obligations." As days turned into weeks and their paths repeatedly crossed, they shared more than just awkward glances. They exchanged their dreams, Sarah's wish to own a home big enough for her family and Ryan's desire to chase his own passions rather than live in his father's shadow. Their friendship blossomed, sparking hope in both their lives. Yet, every blissful moment was tainted by an invisible barrier. Societal prejudices whispered like cold winds about a maid and a billionaire's son. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, their budding companionship faced a harsh reality check. A few disapproving glances cast their way felt like daggers, and Sarah found herself ostracized in her own community. While Ryan fought to break free from family expectations, Sarah felt the snare of judgments tighten around her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The weight of their worlds pressed down, and soon, misunderstandings churned into an emotional storm. Sarah felt unworthy, questioning her place in Ryan's life, while he was caught between family loyalty and the yearning for freedom. In this tumultuous moment, they confronted each other, hearts heavy with conflicting emotions. As their connection unraveled against the backdrop of judgmental whispers, each stood at a crossroads. Would they find the courage to challenge their worlds, or would love slip through their fingers like grains of sand? Sarah and Ryan knew they had to decide, and their futures hung in the balance. What lay ahead would test the limits of their dreams and the strength of their bond, leaving readers breathless and aching to discover what happens next. The next few days were a blur. Sarah moved through her duties with a heaviness that clung to her like a damp coat. The mansion, once a place filled with laughter and warmth, now felt like a gilded cage. Every scrape of the mop, every click of her heels on the marble flooring echoed with the doubts that swirled inside her mind. She could feel the weight of the world as she scrubbed the kitchen floor, the bright, sunny windows mocking her with their view of freedom beyond the estate walls. Each time she spotted Ryan from a distance, a familiar flutter ignited in her chest, but it quickly dimmed into a sigh of resignation. "Why do we even pretend?" she whispered to herself, dabbing her eyes with the sleeve of her uniform after glancing at him surrounded by a group of friends, laughter cascading around him like a shield. Meanwhile, Ryan sensed the shift just as acutely. He was trapped in a whirlwind of family expectations, but his heart drifted towards Sarah like a moth to a flame. After another exhausting day, he found solace in the library, a sanctuary filled with the richness of books he could lose himself in. But it wasn't enough. His mind kept wandering back to her. The way she looked at him, understood him, as if they were both stranded on an island of expectations. Ryan. His father's voice broke through his reverie, grounding him in reality. This party is important. You must greet our guests. He sighed heavily. Sure, Dad. But all he could focus on was the ache for the connection he shared with Sarah. When night fell, the mansion transformed for the party. Glimmering lights hung like stars across the sprawling garden, laughter and music floated through the air. Sarah stood at her post, receiving orders from the event coordinator, but her heart wasn't in it. The moment chaos erupted, a young child dashed out into the crowd, laughter turned to shrieks as adults yelled. Some startled by the sudden disruption, she rushed forward instinctively. She caught the child just before he stumbled into the punch table, saving the evening from disaster. That was amazing. Thank you. A guest exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with admiration. But Sarah hardly noticed. She turned back toward the ballroom, her pulse racing not from the praise but from the electric energy that filled the air when Ryan stepped through the doors. He seemed different, more determined, and as their eyes met across the room, something shifted. Sarah could see a storm brewing within him, and she felt drawn toward him, as if gravity itself was nudging her forward. Sarah. He approached, pushing past the guests like a ship seeking the shore in turbulent waters. Ryan, she replied, the spark sparking alive once again. Can we talk? His voice held a mix of urgency and vulnerability. The crowd seemed to fade away as they stepped into a quieter corridor, far from the music and laughter. You can feel it too, can't you? He asked, searching her eyes with a fierce intensity. This isn't just a fling, it's more than that. Her heart raced. But, Ryan, what about everything? The expectations? What people will say? He stepped closer, his voice softer now. I don't care about them. I care about you. The moment hung in the air, charged with a million unspoken words, but before she could answer, a voice sliced through the intimacy. Ryan. There you are. A woman in an extravagant gown surrounded by admirers stepped into their space. I need you to help me with the guest list, she said, oblivious to the charged moment between them. As she turned, Sarah felt her heart sink, the invisible wall of their world slamming shut once more. The moment of connection shattered like glass underfoot. Would they ever find the time to reconnect, or was it one more piece of their story destined to be lost in the noise of expectation? As they stood there, each confronting their own crushing reality yet yearning for something beyond the constraints of their lives, a new question lingered: would they find a way back to each other, or would destiny tear them apart? Sarah lingered in the corridor, the laughter from the ballroom echoing like hollow reminders of what she longed for. Her heart pounded from the conversation that had nearly happened. But the intrusion of the elegantly dressed woman had sent chills down her spine, pulling her back into a reality too suffocating to bear. Ryan's eyes darted toward the ballroom, where he felt the weight of family obligations pressing down on him. I'll be right back, he whispered, squeezing Sarah's hand before he was pulled away, leaving her standing alone. The moment felt fleeting, like sand slipping through her fingers. She traced her steps back to the kitchen, the scent of polished wood mingling with the lingering aroma of party treats, but it wasn't enough to mask the emptiness inside her. She slid down against the cool tiles, heart racing as confusion swirled in her mind. Did he really mean it? Did he care? Back in the party, Ryan struggled to re-enter the cheerful facade expected of him. The music swelled, but it sounded distant, muffled by the thoughts that consumed him. The woman who interrupted him, Chloe, viewed their shared social status like a chess move. Ryan. You simply have to meet Mr. Whitfield, he's interested in your father's philanthropy. She gushed, her tone dripping with ambition. But I wanted. He felt trapped again, suffocated by her enthusiasm, but he knew better than to voice it. His eyes roamed the room, searching for Sarah, craving that spark again. Meanwhile, conversations played out around him, grand plans for the estate and the heir, construction updates, upcoming events, but all he could focus on was the singular feeling of yearning to break free from the petite bubble surrounding him. It felt wrong to hold the laughter of his friends, while Sarah waited silently in the shadows, carrying burdens he could barely comprehend. The clock ticked, endless as mundane chatter surged around him. He wondered if Sarah felt as lost as he did. Should he risk it all, break away from expectations and grasp the chance to be with her? Meanwhile, Sarah wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, using the countertop as support to stand. She busied herself with the dishes, each clang of porcelain a reminder of her place. But deep in her heart, she felt a flicker of determination. If Ryan truly cared, maybe they could find a way. As the evening wore on, the festivities began to wind down. The guests drifted, laughter fading into whispers, but the world outside still buzzed, a universe of possibilities. Sarah chose that moment to slip outside, the crisp night air breathing life into her heavy heart. Alone beneath the stars, she breathed out her wish, releasing it into the night. Ryan had to see her. She couldn't bear another moment apart without knowing where this threaded connection could lead. Just then, she heard footsteps approaching. Panic brewed, could it be Ryan? A flicker of hope crossed her mind until her heart sank when she saw Chloe approaching, the moonlight glinting off her gown. "Oh, there you are. I hope you're not thinking of leaving early." "The night is still young," she said, her voice silky smooth, but filled with something predatory. Sarah felt a rush of protectiveness wash over her. "I'm fine here." Her voice trembled slightly, but resolution hardened her stance, and then, in the distance, she saw Ryan. His figure cutting through the crowd like a beacon, a determined expression on his face. "Sarah!" he called, his voice stronger than before. They had a moment, a glance that conveyed more than words, until Chloe interjected again, her presence like a storm cloud. "I thought you were busy." She teased lightly, but with an edge. As the tension thickened around them, Sarah felt a surge of determination rise in her chest. In that moment, she knew they'd have to fight for their connection. But would Ryan choose her amidst the chaos? The air crackled with unspoken tension as Ryan's eyes met Sarah's, filled with a mix of yearning and duty. Could love conquer expectations, or would they remain trapped in their gilded cages forever? With the night lingering on the edge, Sarah prepared herself for whatever might come next, her heart brimming with both fear and hope. What would Ryan choose in this moment? Would they truly step into the light together, or would they slip back into the shadows of doubt? Ryan felt the world around him fade away, leaving only the silhouette of Sarah, glowing under the stars. The distance that separated them felt unbearable, each step closer a question hanging in the air. He could sense Chloe's presence like a thorn at his side, whispering doubts into the night. "Chloe, not now," he muttered, but she only laughed, a light sound that held no mirth. "Oh, but Ryan, you have such important matters to discuss," she cooed, her eyes flicking between him and Sarah. "This is not the time to play around in the dark. Let us return to the ballroom." Ignoring her, Ryan took another step forward, cutting through the uncertainty that surrounded Sarah. She looked up, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, heartache, and hope all tangled together. In that instant, he saw the truth of her strength, the way she held everything together despite the chaos around them. "Sarah," he started, his voice barely above a whisper, the world numbing to the two of them. He couldn't articulate everything he felt, but the weight of traditions and social duty crashed down around him. "I need you to listen," she interrupted, her voice shaking slightly but resolute. "This isn't just about tonight. I can't pretend everything is fine while you're back there." The tension in the air hung thick, a palpable weight that pressed against them both. He could feel his heart racing, every pulse urging him to chase after the freedom she represented. "Let us get out of here," he said suddenly, the words tumbling from his lips before he could second-guess himself. The thought of slipping away with her felt like a rebellion against the well-structured life laid out for him. Chloe scoffed, stepping between them. "And leave that lavish dinner? You must be joking. People are waiting for you." Ryan's gaze flicked to Chloe, frustration bubbling in his chest. "What do you want from me?" "Only to see you thrive," she replied, her tone deceptively sweet. "Don't you want to enjoy all this? Your family, your future not without her," he cut in, his tone sharpening as he locked eyes with Sarah again. In that glance, everything transformed. They both understood the stakes, her fears, his struggles, and he could see in her expression that she felt it too. This was their moment. "Sarah, I'm tired of pretending. Of being who everyone expects me to be," he said, his voice steadying. "I want to choose you. Let us leave this behind together." The words hung between them, a fragile yet exhilarating promise. Chloe's reaction was immediate, her expression shifted from surprise to something darker, her eyes narrowing. "You're making a mistake, Ryan. You don't know what you're throwing away." But it didn't matter. With each heartbeat, the world around them faded further away. Ryan reached for Sarah's hand, warm and real, and the connection sparked between them felt electric, giving him strength. "Come on," he whispered, tugging gently. Her hand felt so right in his, as if they had always been meant to fit together like two puzzle pieces that had finally found their match. "Will you really do this?" Sarah asked hesitantly, her eyes searching his. "Absolutely," he replied, certainty hardening his resolve. "I don't want you to be just a fleeting dream, Sarah. I want us to be real." With a hesitant smile breaking through, she nodded, and in that moment, all the burdens of obligation, expectation, and uncertainty melted away. "I'm ready," she declared, her voice firmer now. As they turned toward the path that led away from the trappings of wealth and expectations, Chloe's voice shattered the moment. "You'll regret this." But their laughter mingled with the night air filled with possibility as they stepped together into the unknown, choosing each other over duty, and diving headfirst into the adventure that awaited. Could they really forge a path free of societal chains, or would the world try to pull them back into its grasp? The night held its breath, waiting for their next move, as Sarah and Ryan stepped forward into the darkness together, hearts racing in unison. The air was thick with anticipation as they walked hand in hand, the stars twinkling above like a backdrop to their daring escape. Each step away from the ballroom felt like shedding an old skin, and Ryan could almost hear the fading sounds of clinking glasses and polite laughter trailing behind them. They were leaving behind a world that had attempted to dictate their paths for far too long. "Where are we going?" Sarah finally asked, glancing up at him, the moonlight painting her features in soft silver. Her voice danced between nervous excitement and a raw vulnerability that tugged at his heart. "Somewhere we can breathe," he said, leading her along a narrow, winding path that darted between lush trees and aromatic blossoms, their fragrances swirling in the night. "I just want to be here with you." The sincerity in his voice made her smile widen, but shadows flickered in her eyes. "What if they come looking for us? What if they find us?" He paused, gripping her hands tighter. "Let them try. What matters is right now." His words seemed to cut through the lingering doubts, and a gentle smile broke through her worries. They both felt the weight of expectations lifting, even if only for a moment. The path finally opened up to a meadow, a hidden sanctuary bursting with wildflowers that danced beneath the stars. They stepped into the clearing, and Ryan let go of her hand, spreading his arms wide as if to embrace the universe itself. This is freedom," he exclaimed. Sarah laughed, pure and free, and for a moment, Ryan felt invincible. They were two souls unshackled from their burdens, full of dreams and opportunities. "Ryan, this is beautiful," she said softly, twirling around, her skirt flaring like petals in the wind. The joy in her voice ignited something profound within him, a warmth that spread through his entire being. That he watched her, mesmerized, and then, as if guided by instinct, he stepped forward. May I kiss you?" he asked, heart racing with the enormity of the question. Her gaze held his like a magnet, fierce and soft all at once. "Yes," she breathed, and that one word pulled them together. Their lips met, tentative at first, then deepened, flowing into something that felt as if the world outside had disappeared entirely. It was a kiss that sealed promises, a pact of their shared courage. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Sarah's eyes sparkled with something new, something deeper than just affection. "I want to be real with you, Ryan. No pretenses, just us." His heart swelled. "Agreed. No more masks. Just who we are." But reality gnawed at the edges of their bliss. They both knew there would be consequences. Chloe's words echoed in his mind. What would it mean for his future? But as he searched Sarah's eyes, he found hope. They were flowing energy, two lives converging with such intensity that nothing else mattered. In that moment of pure connection, a soft sound came from behind the trees. Twigs snapped, and they both turned, hearts racing, as a figure stepped into the clearing. Ryan's stomach dropped as recognition hit him like a freight train. It was Chloe, shadows masking her expression. "What are you doing here?" he asked, a mix of confusion and dread washing over him. The tension crackled, and Chloe smiled sweetly, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Just checking on you two lovebirds. You really thought you could run away?" Sarah tightened her grip on Ryan's arm, and he could feel the fear radiating from her. He had brought them here, and now, how were they supposed to face this? More questions loomed over them. Would Chloe let them go? Or was this the moment where everything unraveled? As the confrontation hung in the air, he could feel the weight of choices looming. Every second felt monumental as he prepared for what came next. Was their love strong enough to handle the storm? The night trembled with uncertainty, as they stood on the precipice of a new reality. What was Chloe planning, and how far would they be pushed to fight for their newfound love? Chloe stepped further into the clearing, her expression shifting from sweet to something colder. The air thickened as the tension wrapped around them like a suffocating blanket. Ryan shifted slightly, trying to shield Sarah behind him, but her grip tightened, refusing to be hidden away. "I know what you're doing, Ryan," Chloe said, her voice sharp and filled with unexpected venom. "Running off like this? You think it makes you look brave? It just shows how reckless you are." Ryan felt a rise of anger bubble inside him. "What do you care, Chloe? You've made it clear how you feel about me." "Of course I care." Her voice rose, surprising both of them. "This isn't just a game to me. You and I have a future. I can give you everything. She can't." "That's not what I want," he asserted, his heart racing as he glanced at Sarah. The fear in her eyes fueled his resolve. "This is my choice, not yours to make." "Your choice?" Chloe scoffed, stepping closer. "You think you know what you want? You're just a kid chasing a fantasy. Maybe you're the one living in a fantasy." The heat of anger coursed through him. "I'm done with following a path I didn't choose. I want to be with Sarah." He could feel Sarah's breath against his arm, uneven but filled with a strange strength. She stepped out from behind him, her small frame steadying in the face of Chloe's fury. "I'm not a fantasy, Chloe. I'm real. And I'm not going anywhere." Chloe's eyes flashed with surprise, then twisted into disdain. "You think you can just step into his life and be someone? You can't even hold a candle to what's waiting for him. Maybe it's time you realize that reputation and money don't define happiness," Sarah said, her voice steady despite its soft tone. "Ryan deserves someone who sees him for who he really is, not the family name he carries." Chloe let out a low, cruel laugh. "And what do you bring to the table? Your humble background? Don't fool yourself." The silence that followed felt heavy. Ryan's heart pounded as Chloe stood there, arms crossed, challenge etched into her features. This stood as a battle they didn't ask for but didn't seem to have any choice in either. "Chloe, stop this," he said, softer now, almost pleading. "Why can't you let me choose what I want?" "Because it's not that simple." She shot back. "Your family, my family, they have plans, commitments. Plans that don't involve me being happy," he interrupted, his voice firm. "For once, I'm choosing what I want, and it's not you. It's Sarah. Chloe recoiled as if slapped, her composure slipping for a fraction of a second. But she quickly regained her steeliness, a mask of determination settling over her features. Fine, she said coolly. But you'll regret this. I promise you, you'll see how mistaken you are. With that, she turned sharply, walking away into the darkness from which she came, leaving behind a silence more profound than the earlier confrontation. Ryan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He turned towards Sarah, who was biting her lip, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. I didn't want her to come here. I wanted this to be just us, he said, guilt weighing heavily in his chest. It was just us, she replied softly, stepping closer. And for a moment, I believed it could all be real. I still believe it can be. He took her hands, feeling the warmth settle against his. But we need to be ready. This isn't just a fairy tale ending. It's only the beginning. But deep down, doubt crept in, hiding in the corners of his mind. What would happen next? Would Chloe come back with anger stronger than before? Would their moment of peace disintegrate before they could truly grasp it? As they stood in the moonlit clearing, hands intertwined, uncertainty clung around them like mist. What could come next, and would they be ready to face the storm together? The clearing felt smaller now, the air charged with unresolved tension. Chloe's departure left a heavy silence, punctuated only by the distant rustle of leaves. Ryan and Sarah stood together, the weight of their choice palpable between them. Maybe she's right. Sarah broke the silence, her voice barely above a whisper. What do I bring to the table compared to, everything she's used to? No, Ryan said firmly, squeezing her hands. You bring everything that matters. Your heart. Your kindness. You see me for who I am, not just a name or a family legacy. But even as he spoke, doubt loomed over him like an ominous cloud. The reality of their decision loomed large, making him feel small. What if she tells everyone? Sarah's eyes widened with a mix of fear and concern. What if they turn away from us? I don't want to be the reason you lose everything. I'm ready to stand with you, he assured her. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. But inside, he felt a flutter of anxiety. Chloe had made it clear she wouldn't give up easily. The thought of her stirring chaos in their lives made his pulse quicken. The moonlight danced on the ground, illuminating their cautious breaths. They were standing on the precipice of something beautiful, yet fraught with danger. As they exchanged tentative glances, a sudden rustling from the shadows caught their attention. Ryan instinctively shielded Sarah, heart pounding in his chest. Who's there? He called, voice steady even while adrenaline coursed through his veins. A figure stepped into the clearing, its features obscured by the moonlight. Ryan's heart sank. It could only be Chloe back for round 2. But as the figure moved closer, a familiar face emerged from the dark. It was Lucas, Ryan's older brother. Ryan. Lucas said, his voice firm but laced with something softer. I've been looking for you. Ryan opened his mouth to respond, but words failed him. Lucas had always been the epitome of success, the heir apparent, the golden child. He stood tall and confident, an effortless charm surrounding him. Behind him lay expectations, pressure, and the constant scrutiny of their family's demands. What are you doing here? Ryan finally managed, a sense of unease creeping in. I saw you and Chloe arguing. I wanted to check on you, Lucas said, his eyes flickering to Sarah. And I need to talk to you now. It's important. Sarah's grip tightened on Ryan's hand as she stood a little taller, a mix of determination and apprehension swirling in her expression. Can it wait? Ryan's voice came out sharper than intended. I'm in the middle of something. It can't, Lucas replied, urgency creeping into his tone. You need to hear what I have to say before it's too late. Ryan felt a surge of irritation mixed with concern. He was ready to abandon this moment with Sarah, not when they had just fought so hard to carve it out. But Lucas's serious demeanor hinted at something more. What is going on? He asked, his voice softer now, the protective barrier around the moment beginning to crack. Chloe Lucas hesitated, taking a deep breath. She's planning something, Ryan. Something that could really hurt you and Sarah. Ryan's pulse quickened as fear pulsed through him. What do you mean? Lucas stepped closer, urgency radiating off him like heat from a fire. You need to know her next move before it's too late. The weight of his brother's words settled heavily around them, thick with unspoken danger. Ryan's heart raced as he looked at Sarah, whose eyes reflected her own fear and concern. Let us go, he said finally, squeezing Sarah's hand tightly. But as they started to move, a chilling thought wormed its way into Ryan's mind. Could they really be ready for the fight ahead? What would be at stake? And would they uncover the truth in time to protect what they had found together? The three of them moved through the trees, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot echoing the cacophony of thoughts racing through Ryan's mind. Each step felt heavier as the weight of Lucas's words sank deeper into his heart. Sarah walked close beside him, her presence a comforting warmth that cut through the chill of uncertainty. I don't like this, Sarah finally said, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath it. What could Chloe possibly be plotting that would hurt us? Ryan glanced at Lucas, who seemed to wrestle with how much to reveal. We can't let her control this, Ryan said, steel creeping into his voice. Whatever she's planning, we need to face it head on. Lucas looked over his shoulder, vulnerability flickering in his eyes. She's well connected. If she decides to spread rumors or leverage family influence, it could tear you apart. The mention of rumors hung in the air like a dark cloud. Ryan felt Sarah's hand tremble in his grip. Couldn't we just talk to her? She offered, though the uncertainty in her voice made it clear she knew it was a long shot. Chloe doesn't play fair, Lucas interrupted. You have to brace yourselves for anything. A sense of unease settled in Ryan's gut, but deep within him stirred a fierce determination. This wasn't just about Chloe, it was about protecting the fragile yet beautiful connection he and Sarah were forging. We can't let fear dictate our choices, he asserted. They broke through the tree line, the moonlight again bathing them in silvery light. The sudden brightness surprised Ryan, spilling over their faces like hope. He took a deep breath, the scent of earth and pine calming him momentarily. Where do we go? Sarah asked quietly, scanning the surroundings as if searching for an answer among the shadows. We head back to the house, Lucas said quickly. We need to figure out our next move, together. Ryan nodded, glancing at Sarah, who met his gaze with unwavering trust. The reality of their decision loomed, but he could feel the strength between them growing. As they walked, that strength fueled Ryan's resolve. Do you think I stand a chance against Chloe? Ryan asked, half to Lucas and half to himself. More than a chance, Lucas replied. You know her patterns. You've seen how she operates. Use that. Ryan's heart raced, fueled by a mixture of dread and defiance. They weren't just fighting for their relationship, they were fighting to redefine it, to stand against the storm. A blend of excitement and fear coursed through him. As they approached the house, a sudden commotion drew their attention. The front door swung open, and a group of familiar faces spilled out. The laughter and chatter halted abruptly when they spotted Ryan, and an eerie hush fell over the group as several pairs of eyes turned toward him. What is this? Ryan's heart sank, anxiety twisting his stomach in knots. Then Chloe appeared at the forefront, her smile sharp and calculating. Ryan. You decided to join us after all, she said, the sweetness in her tone dripping with mockery. How lovely. Ryan froze, instinctively stepping protectively in front of Sarah. He felt Lucas tense beside him, the air thick with unspoken tension. They had never anticipated this direct confrontation. Let us settle this, Ryan said, forcing his voice to remain steady. You need to back off, Chloe. We're done with your games. Everyone stood silent, eyes darting between Ryan and Chloe, charged anticipation rippled through the crowd. Sarah squeezed his hand tighter, a silent vow echoing between them. The moment felt pivotal, raw with potential and threat. Ryan's heart thundered in his chest, daring him to push further. "You won't win this," he declared, the stakes of his words crashing down around them like thunder. But just as he thought he was prepared, Chloe's lips curled into a smirk. "Oh, Ryan. You have no idea what I'm capable of yet." The tension thickened, suffocating and electric, as anger and fear morphed into resolve. Ryan glanced at Lucas, and they both knew their family dynamics were about to change forever. What other moves did Chloe have up her sleeve? And would they unravel in time to protect what mattered most? Ryan could feel Chloe's gaze, sharp and piercing, as she reveled in her power over the crowd. The whispers among their friends simmered just beneath the surface, a blend of curiosity and concern that added pressure to the air. He wanted to deflect her smirk, to show her that he wouldn't cower, but uncertainty prickled at him. "Don't you think it's time we all grew up?" Chloe asked, tilting her head mockingly. "This isn't an adventure story, Ryan. Best friends don't become enemies because of a silly crush." "It's not silly," Ryan shot back, anger igniting within him. "Sarah is not just some pawn in your game." Chloe waved a dismissive hand, but the challenge sparkled in her eyes. "And what will you do if I choose to make her my next target? Spread rumors, twist truths? You won't be around to protect her then." A wave of apprehension washed over Ryan. Conversations among their friends resumed, a low murmur of speculation flooding the space. Ryan didn't need to see the chorus of apprehensive glances to feel their fear. He turned his focus back to Chloe, clutching Sarah's hand tightly. "I won't let you tear us apart," Ryan said, his voice low but fierce. The flicker of strength in his tone stirred something in the crowd. There were murmurs of agreement from a few, but it was the determined expression on Sarah's face that anchored him. Chloe stepped closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You don't think this is just about you and Sarah, do you? This school is a world of alliances. I could flick away your precious little relationship like dust on my shoulder." An anger deeper than his initial embarrassment simmered in Ryan. He opened his mouth to respond but was interrupted by Lucas's sudden movement. "Let us think about this rationally," he interjected. "You're not going to win a popularity contest with threats." Chloe's eyes narrowed slightly. "Oh, but darling, I already have." The group erupted into another wave of uncertain chatter. Ryan's heart raced. He couldn't let Chloe win. He needed to turn the tide, and suddenly, a thought struck him. "Why don't we make this interesting?" Ryan challenged, breathing in deeply to steady his voice. "Let us have a face-off. You get to prove just how much power you think you have while I protect what's mine." The challenge stunned Chloe momentarily, and for a heartbeat, Ryan thought he saw a genuine surprise flash across her features. "What do you mean by face-off?" Chloe asked, a calculated interest replacing her mockery. "A challenge. A public gathering. We'll let everyone see just how much influence you have. If you win, I'll back off. But if we win..." He paused, weighing his words. "You leave Sarah alone. No more games, and no more plotting." The crowd shifted, intrigued whispers igniting among them. Chloe's gaze flickered to her friends, measuring the gravity of Ryan's proposal. She stepped back, crossing her arms over her chest, and smirked again. "Now that's interesting. You think you can orchestrate a public spectacle against me?" "Yeah, we'll see how well you do when everyone's watching," Ryan shot back, adrenaline pumping through his veins. The realization sunk in the stakes were rising quickly. He had thrown down the gauntlet, and a chill of anticipation coursed through him. He glanced at Sarah, whose wide eyes reflected a mix of fear and excitement. Ryan felt a surge of determination blend with uncertainty. What had he just unleashed? As Chloe considered his proposal, the crowd hushed, waiting for the game to be set. Ryan's heartbeat synchronized with the tension, knowing that whatever happened next could change everything. "Fine," Chloe finally said, her voice calculated and smooth. "Let us play." Ryan turned to Sarah, gripping her hand tighter, realizing that this was only the beginning. What had he just committed them to? Was he ready for the battle ahead? As Chloe walked away with her followers, Ryan could feel the weight of the challenge settling around them. What other secrets would be revealed through this confrontation? Would his fight against Chloe bring resolve or fracture everything they cared about? The crisp air of early morning greeted Sarah as she stood at the balcony, lost in thought. Below her, the mansion came to life with the bustle of staff preparing breakfast, the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafting up like a warm embrace. But her heart was heavy. A challenge had been thrown, and the fight for her future with Ryan loomed like a storm cloud on the horizon. Last night had been tumultuous, filled with confrontation and fierce declarations. Ryan's words echoed in her mind, "I'll protect what's mine." She wanted to believe him, yet self-doubt clawed at her. Did she deserve to hold on to this happiness? The memories of Chloe's biting taunts stung like thorns. She had awakened a side of Sarah's insecurities that she thought she'd worked so hard to bury. "Sarah!" A familiar voice snapped her back. Ryan emerged, his eyes bright yet determined, his presence instantly lifting her spirit. "We need to strategize." She nodded, feeling a flutter of excitement mixed with fear. "What's the plan?" Ryan ran a hand through his hair, the weight of responsibility pulling at his brow. "We turn this challenge into a showcase of who we truly are. I want everyone to see us, not Chloe's fabricated ideals. It's time for an open contest, something everyone can be involved in. Like a community event." Sarah perked up, the thought igniting a spark in her. "Exactly." Ryan's face brightened, the light breaking through the fog of tension that had settled over them. "We'll contain it, we'll make it ours. We as in you and me." Her heart raced as his intensity washed over her. "Ryan, that's risky. Risks are what make love real." He stepped even closer, his eyes locking onto hers with an honesty that burrowed deep into her heart. "I need you beside me. Not just as my partner but as the incredible person you are. Let us invite the community, let us show that love transcends status, no matter the obstacles." Together, they began crafting plans. They'd invite everyone from their community, family, friends, and even those who doubted them. They'd make it more than just a contest, it would be a celebration of connection, love, and courage. The idea transformed in the morning light, weaving hope into every aspect of the event. Their first discussion revolved around setting the date, decorations, and local contests that highlighted their individual talents: baking, painting, storytelling, everything that represented their community. The excitement buzzed through them like warm electricity. Over the next few days, the town buzzed with anticipation. Flyers adorned storefronts, welcoming people into the arena of competition. The reception from their neighbors was mostly warm, filled with curiosity as they rallied behind the young couple. Sarah saw them as allies. She finally felt a shift, as if the tides had turned in her favor, but Chloe wouldn't sit back idle. As Ryan and Sarah walked into town one afternoon, a chill ran through the air. Chloe stood with her entourage, waiting. "You really think you can win their hearts?" Her voice dripped with disdain. "This is hardly the endgame you think it is." "Maybe not, but we'll make it our game," Ryan declared, stepping forward, his chin raised in defiance. Sarah joined Ryan's side, her heart pounding. "And we'll do it together." The crowd behind them stirred, whispers of support flowing in their direction. The community had listened, had shown up in droves to witness this realization of dreams. Sarah glanced around, seeing familiar faces smiling brightly, ready to lend their support. "Let us see if you can convince them when it matters," Chloe spat. "I can easily unravel everything you're trying to build. And we'll be standing taller when you do," Ryan shot back, voice steady. "You underestimated the strength of connection." As they turned away, Sarah felt a surge of purpose. The battle wasn't just for them, it was for everyone wanting to escape the chains of expectation. Together, they redefined love and community. When the event day arrived, Sarah's heart raced. Bright banners waved in the gentle breeze. Colorful booths filled the park, echoing. Laughter and lively conversations branching out as people arrived. Families, friends, neighbors, everyone mingled and gathered in unity, ensconced in an atmosphere charged with anticipation. Ryan stood by her side, both nervous and proud. They took the stage and were enveloped in a sea of smiles. "Thank you." Ryan's voice boomed, summoning the crowd's attention. "This is for all of you. We're here to show what love can accomplish when you choose to stand up against limitations." Sarah felt weight lift from her shoulders as applause erupted all around them. Her heart soared as she saw the faces of support surrounding them, her friends, her family, Ryan's family. They were in this together. Hours passed in a whirl of activities and laughter, the competitions showcasing how diverse and beautiful their abilities were. As they approached the final segment, Sarah took a deep breath, preparing for the last event, an open question to everyone about what love meant. Ryan sat beside her, his warmth radiating comfort. One by one, people from the crowd stepped up, sharing stories of love, struggle, and triumph. Each word painted a snapshot of connection, of what it meant to challenge societal constructs. As the last speaker finished, there was a powerful silence, and a collective sigh swept through the crowd. This was more than a contest, it had transcended into a movement of love and acceptance. Ryan smiled at Sarah, their fingers entwined, hearts beating in sync. "No matter what happens next, we did it. Together." Before Sarah could reply, their community erupted in applause, cheers cascading over her, echoes of joy. In that moment, she turned, letting joy bubble over as Ryan pulled her close and kissed her, an affirmation of their fight, their story, and their love. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of red and gold, Sarah knew their battle with Chloe and the judgments of the world had only strengthened their connection. They stood firm with unwavering love, ready to navigate whatever came next, and as they pulled away from the kiss, hearts racing, Sarah looked at Ryan, clarity resonating in her heart. "We'll face anything, together." That was when they both understood they were no longer just a maid and a billionaire's son. They were two fiercely determined souls, bound not by societal chains but by the sheer strength of their love. As night fell, Sarah felt the veil of doubt and fear fall away, replaced by the profound realization that love, when nurtured, could move mountains and rewrite destinies. And somewhere in the shadows, Chloe watched, uncertainty flickering in her once bold eyes. It might not be over yet, but for Sarah and Ryan, this moment was theirs, full of hope and undeniable possibility, illuminating their path ahead. If you enjoyed this heartwarming conclusion, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for what comes next. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter more than you know, and don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this transformative story. Let us spread hope and inspire love together.